So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and today I'm going to be talking about the incredible rematch fight which took place on the weekend between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. And again, this was a phenomenal, thrilling, entertaining and potentially fight of the year fight between both fighters. And it's the second time they've done this to us now. The first one was, again, for me, fight of the year. That was back in 2022. Very, very close fight on the scorecards, but this fight was a lot closer this time round. At the time, the judges scored the first fight to Katie Taylor, as we all know. But close fight. One judge 96-93, one judge 97-93, another judge, sorry, scored it to the opposite way, 94, 96 to Serrano, give or take, something like that. But yeah, very, very good fight the first time round, but this time round, it was a unanimous decision for Katie Taylor, but the scorecards for all three judges were the same, 95-94. So the fight was a hell of a lot closer. And from my point of view, and you guys' point of view as well, if the decision was the opposite way, let's say Serrano came out the victor, we wouldn't have said anything because it was that sort of fight. It was very entertaining from the start. For some boxing fans, they would say, yeah, it was a fight of two halves. But for me, when you're going into a fight like this, the challenger sometimes has to do that little bit more, like try and leave no decisions unturned and make it obvious that you won those rounds. And I'm not saying that Serrano didn't do that, but I just thought at times you could have probably have done a little bit more to kind of say, you know what I mean, to stamp her dominance sort of thing. But yeah, a brilliant fight from the pair. And from my point of view, I'd love to see a trilogy. And Katie now has so many options in terms of who she could fight next, and the world's her oyster. I don't feel as if she's got many fights left, and if I had to sit here and put a figure on that, I'd probably say she's got two, maybe three max fights left. Definitely two, and those two are obvious for everyone to see, and that's obviously the Serrano trilogy as well as the Chantel Cameron trilogy. Now, I personally feel that she probably will go with maybe the trilogy with Serrano first before accepting the potential trilogy with Chantel Cameron, and just listen to the reason why I feel that. And that's because she's beat Serrano twice, even though the first one and the second one were very, very close. So she's going to have that extreme confidence now, knowing that she can do it because she's already done it twice. Whereas with Chantel Cameron, the first fight she lost, even though the scores are very, very close in that fight. But I felt that the score should have been a lot wider. That's just my perception. But the second fight, what she had with Chantel Cameron, again, close fight, but she won it quite comprehensively, and it was a masterclass, I would probably say, from Katie Taylor. So that's a harder fight for me, the Chantel Cameron fight. So yeah, it's up to Katie now what she decides to do. Where does she want to go? Does she want the trilogy with Serrano or Cameron next? It's up to her. And then you never know. There's potentially a Natasha Jones, depending on what she's still doing in terms of her career. So that could be an option, but that might not be too much of the icing on the cake to maybe try and persuade someone like Katie Taylor to get into the ring. But yeah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant fight. And for those that haven't watched it, I suggest go and watching it because honestly, it was the fight of the year so far for me. Back and forth from both ladies. None of them saying, you know what I mean, that like I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna stop. It was never say die sort of attitude. It was phenomenal. But anyhow, in terms of other boxing news today, for some boxing fans, they'll be happy to know that Callum Smith will be returning to the ring. He's fighting on the undercard of the Sonny Edwards, not Sonny, Sonny Edward versus Gao Yafai main event, and that's going to be in Birmingham on the 30th of November. So yeah, that should be a good warm-up fight for Callum Smith. He's got no opponent to date, but I don't feel as if they're throw him in there with anyone who's going to be too much of a problem at this stage because he hasn't fought since January. So yeah, hopefully he could come back. He could look half decent and maybe try and entice some of the bigger names in that division or the division up into the ring next year. Now, another fight that I'm going to what took place on the weekend, haven't done a video yet, may do one, not too sure, was the Chris Billam-Smith versus the Gilberto Ramirez. And again, another candidate for potential fight of the year, and it was non-stop action and brilliant fight from both guys. Especially, there's a lot of heart from Chris Billam-Smith, but I just felt as if he went in there with bad tactics. Um, he just went in there and played into Gilberto Ramirez's hands. But fair play to Gilberto Ramirez. Obviously, the bigger fight now for him is going to be the Jai Opetaia fight. Hopefully, he could get that. And I'm no doubt confident that Chris Billam-Smith will come back from this defeat. This defeat will hurt him quite a lot because he felt as if he was a level above Gilberto Ramirez, but obviously not if you're going to fight the guy's fight. But let's see what happens on that sense. Um, yeah, let's see what happens. Obviously, there's another bit of news here. Charles Martin was back in the ring recently. He stopped his opponent. We're in the first round, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, first round. Pretty much a nobody. I've not really heard of this guy that he's fought, but no one really exciting. But yeah, he stopped him, and he's got a KO in his name, and he now believes that he can maybe do some damage in the heavyweight division. And I can't see that happening, but you never know. It is boxing. Let's see what happens. Another big fight. What happened on the weekend was between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And for those that did pay and like not pay, but for those that watched it, you're probably disappointed like me. Wasn't the performance that you was expecting from Tyson. At least you would have felt that he would have come out swinging for a couple of rounds. You know what I mean? Ask Jake some questions. But he was like a tame puppy in the ring. He was like a puppy that's had his balls like snipped, sort of thing. He just didn't look right, and I kind of expected it because Tyson's got no legs. He's 58, 59, whatever it may be, and he's getting on now, so he's on the older side, and it's just a sad figure to see someone like that in the ring with someone who's younger and who wants to try and do something in the sport. Should never have been in there. Hopefully, he never gets back in the ring. But you never know. Money entices fighters to do silly things sometimes. And if you're going to get paid stupid amount of money for 16 minutes, then yeah, I think most people will take it. And now this is becoming a bit of a trend because unboxing scene. There's another old timer fighter who was fighting on that bill as well. Was Oliver McCall. He was around back in the days when Tyson and Holyfield and Lewis were all fighting, and he got a win on that undercard. He fought another old timer, and again, I don't even know who his guy was, but the guy that he fought was a guy called Stacey Fraser or Frazier, however you want to pronounce it, and he beat this guy in 2 rounds, but the guy was 54 himself, so it was pretty much two old timers going up against each other. Now, I don't mind that. I don't mind two veterans or not has-beens, but two older guys going up against each other and fighting in an exhibition because they both will be on the same level. Whereas when you got a younger guy who's hungry, you know, what I mean, fighting against an older guy, it's just a mismatch because we all saw that Tyson had no legs. Um, and he was tamed. He just didn't look the same. So why go in there and try and fight against someone who wants to take your head off? And not saying that Jake tries to take his head off because he was very respectful, but he just had no answers really, Mike Tyson. So yeah, if Mike Tyson is to get back into the ring, then I don't mind him going up against a former old timer like someone like a Oliver McCall or Lennox Lewis or Holyfield or someone on that level because these guys are going to be on the same level because they've been out of the ring for so long, etc. But not against the young pups, these young people. In their heyday, obviously, they would have killed these guys. But yeah, that's all for now. That's just my thoughts in regards to the weekend that's gone. Yeah, some interesting fights. Let's see what happens in the next uh, couple of weeks, etc. Because we've got a big end to the year in terms of the Usyk and Tyson rematch. Hopefully that goes ahead, fingers crossed. And then we got a good Magnificent Seven. I think that's just before the Tyson event as well. I think that's on December the 7th. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, please subscribe and comment. Bless.